off, that's all well and good too.
Okay,
Thanks so
perfect.
much.
Hello, everyone. This is Zell, and we're ready to go with more Plants vs. Zombies. This time, the mobile-only sequel, Plants vs. Zombies 2, and Warmech continue from here.
Hey, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. My name is Warmech Gaming. You're welcome to call me Warmech. And yeah, we have the exciting standalone sequel to Plants vs Zombies. Came out around 2013. Plants vs Zombies 2. There's definitely some similarities, but some very important differences between the two versions. Namely, that they're continuing to patch the game, so it's a speed game that has continued to change in the probably four or 5 years I've been running it at this point. The most recent edition making it such that you have to play the levels in order. And because there's 9 worlds, we estimate that it would take about 17 hours to actually complete every level start to finish. So what we have here is ancient Egypt. It's just the first 25 levels, the first world. And again, it kind of hits that sweet spot with the speed game length. It should take us around 50 minutes, although I budgeted an hour just in case of mistakes. So what we have here, we created a fresh file, booted up the game to reset the RNG, and if we're ready, we can start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. So we click over the skip the tutorial, although for some reason, again, as of this last patch, they have us they have us do a tutorial anyway. This is just the fifth tutorial level, and originally we thought that this was going to cost a significant amount of time over the course of the run. But as it turns out, they made some adjustments to other levels throughout the game that sort of kind of give us, give it a little bit more hope, making some of the what was initially some of the early levels in ancient Egypt just a little bit easier to help offset the fact that you have to do the tutorial, and I think just to kind of give some better balance to the game overall. So we'll do this, and luckily we can tap on the screen very quickly. I can actually use multiple fingers here so that, again, maybe not frame perfect inputs, but we can get many inputs per second to kind of zip through this text, and we'll be off to Ancient Egypt 1. Um, so for those of you that were part of the Plants vs. Zombies 1, again, there's some similar mechanics that go along here, but one of the major differences in the games is the addition of plant food that you can see there in the bottom of the left screen. And this basically lets you do a one-time power up of a particular plant. And on the very first level, again, they kind of want you to get used to the plant food a little bit. So they really give us a mountain of plant food that that we can use here. So again, as you can see here, we really have a chance to kind of melt down the zombies in a matter of time, and really just by using plant food, we can eliminate this first level in no time at all. Right, and usually, again, much like Plants vs Zombies 1, they have a really great design in Plants vs Zombies 2, and that is that you're really sort of doing a tutorial throughout the entire first world altogether. Getting used to everything. And here they get you used to what we call the instance, and that's the zap that you have that you see me kind of using and maybe even abusing here. But they let you use it for free, and normally it's not free. Normally you only have each time you use one of the zaps, it'll cost you some money that you can see up in the upper right hand screen. But luckily for this level only, they give you kind of a free trial. Again, maybe in part to sort of get you used to the idea of spending money, but from a speedrunning context, we're not allowed to use real money. We can only use the in-game currency that we obtain throughout the game. So again, very consistent to PvZ1 and sort of most speedrunning categories where we wouldn't want a runner that has spent real money to get any kind of advantage. And again, because we're starting from a fresh file, and the game is actually pretty consistent about how much of the in-game currency it gives you, it really creates this very interesting dynamic that you'll see me use throughout the course of the entire run. So you can see right here, again, they kind of teach you can buy some plant food, and you can see already we have $4,000. And this sort of provides a kind of a metagame type of concept that goes along with each individual level. So really, for any given level, you can not you can use not only you have to consider not only sort of how to play that particular level optimally, but also kind of how much of again, how much kind of the meta game you want to be able to manage as well. And so, in other words, you can basically make a sacrifice early on and spend a lot of your money, but then you could be left at the end of the game with where you really don't have where you really don't have anything left over. So what I'm trying to do is use only the money that we sort of absolutely have to, when sort of the consequences for not doing so means that something's going to be particularly slow. So um, and we'll see that just as an example right here. Oops, actually make a very slight mistake there. So you have a little bit of plant food that we can use on a couple of these waves here. A last piece of plant food to kind of clear this out, and then I actually do elect to use a little bit of the money here. The reason being that those camel zombies are very slow to get on screen, and some of the instants can actually hit the zombies off screen a little bit. So rather than waiting about 10 or 15 seconds, I made the decision to use $800, which is the cheapest instant that we have, the zap, basically to clear out that final wave. And I try to do so at the earliest moment possible. But again, we're sort of left at a point where there's sort of this constant trade-off between, all right, do we use some of our instants, right, to sort of solve a problem, or sometimes even solve a mistake that we had early on in the run, or do we sort of save that for a time of greater need. And again, that's really what kind of makes PvZ2 like a really cool speed game, in my opinion, because again, you really have to focus on kind of this macro game that goes along, obviously with making sure that you're planting plants in the right places. And again, much like PvZ1, PvZ2 has a very interesting characteristic. I should have actually used some plant food. There's an instant there as well, but has an interesting mechanic in that although the game looks like it's an auto scroller, right? It sort of looks like your average tower defense game. It's actually very different because the faster that you defeat any given wave, the faster the next wave will appear. And we use a concept of what we call the 50% rule, and you'll hear me kind of refer to that, probably a handful of times throughout the run. And basically, what that is that if you do 50% of the current wave's total hit points, then you're guaranteed for the next wave to appear, and so on. With the exception of the final wave, where of course you have to do 100% of the hit points of that wave. So you can see, oh, we saved a little bit. We saved a little bit of plant food here for the very end. And again, I think I'm just going to finish this off with an instant to try to make sure that you know we keep things rolling as best we can. So the 50% rule again is critically important to PvZ speedrunning because we're sort of constantly in this battle of trying to do enough damage to make the next wave appear, but not making so many waves appear that you end up getting overrun by zombies and costing yourself time later on. And again, another very interesting component is that although it's considered a tower defense game, and actually, if you look it up on Wikipedia, they do consider the Plants vs. Zombies a tower defense game. I actually see more in common with Plants vs. Zombies 2. I see more in common with a real time strategy game where basically your sunflowers are like your villagers, that kind of produce resources over the course of the game. And it really is kind of becomes mostly a resource management and even kind of a micromanagement type of element to the game as much as it is trying to defend your towers or your lawn. So again, really a great game design that kind of has a very unique a very unique flavor to the rest of to other types of strategy games and tower defense games as well. Oops. To do a little bit more damage here. Right. Arguably, I should have waited just a little bit longer. I really wanted to do as much damage as I possibly could to that final wave. Very good. Technically killed the the cone head there a little bit faster, and potentially saved a little bit of time on the final wave by getting the plant food faster and being able to eliminate the camel zombie a little faster as well. But the fact that we didn't, isn't that much of a move. So again, as we go through these tutorials, again, the game gives us, the game sort of introduces these ideas of gems. Unfortunately, didn't get very good RNG there. That's okay. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Back several patches ago, they introduced a leveling up concept to plants. Again, to kind of give it almost like an RPG type of element as well. That doesn't really come too much into play here, but we do have the ability that if we spend if we spend some of that currency rather than being able to utilize an instant, we can instead use it to level up plants once we get enough of these. They call them seed slots, but that's basically sort of the experience points that you would need in order to to get the game. Oops. Oh, that boy, that was actually a pretty big mistake. Really didn't want to do that, but we'll manage. Had a little bit of a misclick there. It's all well and good. You can see that Plants vs Zombies 2 is a little bit different in that you have to do 50 you still have to do 50% of the zombies hit points in order for the next wave to appear. However, the armor of the zombie, so for example, the cone head's cone or the bucket head's bucket, does not count towards that 50%. So in other words, it's very critical in order to try to damage um, the regular zombies, because they're really the only ones that count towards the 50% rule. Others, you can do a ton of damage. You can see, all the damage that we do to the cone head basically doesn't matter until the cone head loses its cone, and we're sort of given an opportunity to to damage the actual underlying zombie. So again, that's a very key difference between Plants vs Zombies 1 and Plants vs Zombies 2. So it really kind of makes for, again, a different kind of run where you actually have to prioritize the lower hit point zombies as opposed to the higher hit point zombies. Um, Again, a really sort of unique unique concept, particularly so you can see there we got a lot of regular zombies in that wave, but now we're sort of only left with the we're going to try this. So I do have a plan here, and as long as we don't goof too badly, that plan should come to fruition. We're going to do that. And then one more instant just to clear that guy out. Oh, I actually technically did. I could have gotten away without that instant. I get very lucky that the upgraded potato mine, which is how our potato mine spawns so fast, actually put a potato mine in front of the gargantua. It's very unlikely for that to happen. So could have actually saved a little bit of money there if I'd done a better job, kind of managing it. But again, game kind of continuing to introduce us to things. Log. This is to sort of tell you what you should do or what you get rewards for and things like that. Again, it comes into play here, but not so much. Another very important thing that I should bring up before I forget is, when you played Plants vs Zombies 2, if you played, you might have noticed that you get a fair amount of ads, and as a mobile game, especially a free to play mobile game, you can kind of understand the logic behind that. But in PVZ 2, we're sort of we get a little bit lucky in that if you disable the if you disable the internet from the game, you can still play the game. So I'm actually playing without Wi-Fi, without any sort of internet connection on my phone at this point. But by using my capture card, I could still obviously remain online, for purposes of streaming. So again, kind of a cool way to maybe take advantage of not getting ads every other level like we might have had, if we were playing, if we were just playing casually, or without knowing about that particular trick. EA, again, I'm very sorry if I kind of gave away your grand secrets here, but that's that is what we had to do. So right, very good. Again, unfortunately here, didn't quite get the damage off on that camel zombie, but still managed to get a very fast wave. Didn't need to use any money at all, and away we go. All right. So again, now it kind of reintroduces the log here, which luckily gives us a little bit of money. Again, unfortunately, we're not exactly getting. There is one. There are some seeds that that we can actually hope for, but until then, we really don't want to. Again, we get a little bit extra cash here. We figure it saves. Oops, I should not have jumped into there, but we have to go back into adventure mode again. It actually kind of call this menuing or something else. We actually do have it's actually a very kind of important menuing concept that goes along with this too. And unfortunately, I misclicked by just a little bit and entered the shop, which has sort of a big prominent place to click as opposed to getting back into the game itself, which was my goal. So again, the fast forward button, another very interesting addition that they had to Plants vs. Zombies 2 compared to the some of the earlier versions of the game. It plays the game not twice as fast, but about 50% faster. I think it's 1.5 times speed. So obviously a very important aspect to a speed run that we certainly won't want to give up. You see this guy here. There's definitely some randomness to the game. Again, much like PVZ one in that, although the game looks deterministic, there's a little bit of randomness that goes along to it that kind of adds a very cool component that really sort of makes it able to be speed run to begin with. And what I mean is that the what zombies you get in each wave, including the final wave, is determined. However, the rows that the zombies appeared in is non-deterministic. So, in other words, I knew, for example, I was going to get those a normal zombie in the first wave and things like that. Oh, it actually is giving me an ad here, which is very concerning. I'm actually going to X out for a second here and see if I can figure out why that is happening. Ooh, I accidentally left my Wi-Fi on. That is that is a big mistake. Okay, all right, we're getting back into things here. So again, I very much apologize for that. That I even had notes to to begin doing that, but hopefully we're back online here. Things looking good. And yeah, should not get any more ads. Just as I was talking about how great it was to be able to skip the ads, we forget about it. And I had the sticky note there, Scion, but just couldn't quite keep it together. But that's okay. Had a lot of try to do some practice and kind of keep track of everything. But life is good here. We're not too worried. All right, very good, very good. So again, luckily it does not cost a huge amount of time, even if you have to kind of, jump out of the game for just a second to make a little fix like that. And again, we still should be well within our estimate, I would say, of being under an hour. I did set a world record in this category about a week ago. It was a kind of a nice moment for for again what is a very definitely a challenging game, I would say, in a lot of ways. It certainly the main idea being that every time being through the game feels a little bit different, because of the non-deterministic RNG elements that go along with it. But it's still good. Again, we thought that the current version of the game was not going to be was not going to be ideal because of the fact that it reintroduced the tutorial level, which previously you used to be able to skip entirely. But again, because of how they sort of fixed and improved some of the other levels, it actually made it ended up being a net time save. As opposed to a time loss, having reintroduced the tutorial levels. So Not too shabby. And again, I was actually pretty lucky, I would say, to get 8 or 9 levels into it, without an ad, but, that's what we got. Wait, so now oh, shoot, I actually forgot, I actually have to, like, reset my iPhone not to get these ads. This is, we're oh boy. This is, I would say, thoroughly embarrassing. Um, I'm gonna if we get one more, I am going to, again, despite having, again, completely X'd out of the game, I am probably going to have to restart my phone if that happens again. I'm very getting a little nervous about about the ads and things like that. However, we'll do our best. Luckily, they another good addition to the game. They added a refresh button, meaning that with just one click, you can pick the same plants that you did in the previous level without needing to select them manually. So again, that definitely saves a fair amount of menuing time, micro things like that. So basically what we think happens is that downloaded the game downloaded some ads onto our phone and is sort of more than happy to play those for us, from its stored memory. So yeah, again, we got to be we should have been a little bit more careful there. I do very much apologize for not quite having that taken care of, but again, hopefully, nevertheless, again, still should be under time. Again, I was very conservative with the estimate for this game. There's lots of still going to be a lot of time save. Again, not too concerning, but yeah. Again, plant food management can be a important aspect to the game as well. Sort of knowing exactly when to use your plant food. Not having too many bad waves ahead of us. So, for example, here we knew we were going to get the double. We were going to get the double. Um, what you call it? Camel zombie. But nonetheless, you can argue that a little bit of that an instant could have been worth it there for that final wave, but I'll take what I can get. All right, we pray for no ads, not sponsored content. Oh man, I'm getting nervous, folks. I am getting nervous. No, no, okay, all right. So again, I very much apologize for this. This is not what we were looking for. But I am going to restart my phone. Luckily, it does not take too long to do that, but we need to get all sources of data off. The reason I'm unplugging my capture card here, obviously, I don't necessarily want people to see, my real name or anything like that, but um, we should be all right. We should be restarted here, and away we go. Yikes. Okay. All right. Well, with that behind us, we'll hopefully be ad free for the rest of our campaign here. My goodness. Absolutely epic. All right. Another very cool aspect of PvZ2 is that the game did introduce sort of different game modes, and that includes some of these where the game picks what plants you're going to get for the level, even if those plants would not necessarily have been as optimal for us. And Ancient Egypt 11, day 11 here, is one of those examples. We love to take the cabbage pult. The cabbage pult got almost no love in PvZ1, but in PvZ2, its plant food effect alone, really makes it, again, I don't know if I would call it broken, but I would say significantly enhanced. Again, we sort of had to wait anyway, so taking care of a little bit there. Do a little bit of that. Again, these regular zombies, once we do 50% of the current wave's hit points, should be well and good. And speaking earlier about the importance of plant food, you can absolutely see it right there. This is actually one of these waves that we have to use an instant, otherwise we would be waiting all day, and this is a speed run after all. So oops, she made a bit of a mistake right there. Luckily, we were very prepared for the final wave and didn't even need to use another dime. So there you go. Life is good. Yeah, yeah. Back in the days when it was truly free to play, those were those were the days. But alas, you know we got to work with what we give. And really, what I'm hoping for, even more so than some of the free to play stuff, is I am hoping that by the by the time it's all said and done, that we have a final working patch. Because every time they patch the game, there's always something that affects either like the power of a plant, or the order that we have to do the levels, or things like that. And from a speedrunning perspective, we, a lot like Minecraft, actually, we have to run it. We have to basically separate out versions of the run. So right now I'm running on, kind of there's like, we obviously sort of have the current patch for most of the categories, except sometimes the patches become obsolete entirely. So it really, it really does kind of add a unique component that uh, isn't quite what we all would hope for. But nevertheless, it's we got to work within the framework of what we're given. And as of now, this is what we're given. It's still a good game. We still have fun. It's still very competitive to speed run. There's lots of challenges. So I wouldn't we're really not worried about it altogether. But right, oops, that really should have happened a long time ago. You see what's happening there. The game has a call it a feature that if you're on fast forward mode and the zombies get a little bit too close, it'll actually the game will, again, in its infinite generosity, remove the fast forwarding feature from you. Again, I really didn't want to use another instant there, but we were sort of our hands sort of got forced. So there you have it. But yeah, so we have to be very careful to make sure that we're always that we're always kind of paying attention to make sure that that the fast forward button is on 100% of the time, even when the game insists that it isn't. All right, this is basically in place of the endless levels. They sort of add an endless level to each world. And so we're sort of left here. Again, they introduced that we don't have to do the endless as part of this category. It can kind of make sense that it's not. But nevertheless, that's sort of what was going on there. A lot of these sort of menuing interruptions, make things a little bit tricky between levels, because you have to be careful not to. I mean, like with anything, you have to be very careful not to misclick. But particularly in those levels where the where misclick could kind of mean entering the wrong screen and getting yourself into some trouble. Sure, I picked that up. All right. And yeah, some of these final waves definitely had a little bit of little bit of a challenge. So I'll kind of explain my thought process behind this final wave. Again, having three uh, camels really makes it a bit challenging. So we have to wait for them all to get on screen, and then by using saving two plant food, which we saw we did exactly there, and then using them twice once all of the camels appear on screen, we can actually wipe out that final wave without needing to worry about using an instant or any money. So one of the more challenging final waves, I would say, but not necessarily the end of the world. All right, we have the bonk choi. This the bonk choi is a DPS machine, and we're definitely going to utilize that again with another very terrific plant food effect. Again, the short range of it, you might think is kind of a limiting factor, but again, really, it sort of more than makes up for it by just being able to, dish out incredible amounts of damage in a really, kind of tiny period of time. And on these early waves, we have to build up a little bit of sun. Again, try to do just enough damage to the zombies that we don't run into too much trouble. Again, these raw zombies try to you can see I believe that was a deterministic wave with that bucket head there. Whoops. Doing that. So by placing the potato mine where we did, we could basically guarantee the right. And I thought that guy was going to be out of range. Unfortunately, he was not. And so we actually have to sort of gear up for a little bit of trouble here. And I'm losing a few more plants than I'd really like to at this point, but and very, very important to. Ooh, I actually misclicked there as well. These are all right. These are pretty big mistakes. I thought basically what I thought I was doing there. I thought I was placing one of the potato mines as an instant, but unfortunately, quite there. And again, great plant food effect to hopefully kind of oops stop the bleeding here. All right. One of my smoother levels. Again, a little bit of miss micro, and again, a slight misclick. Again, our cabbage pult and our potato mine are right next to each other, so that's what we had to deal with. Yeah, bong choy is really terrific. Hard not to like. Again, normally in casual playthrough, I would definitely recommend placing a walnut in front of it. But again, in a speed run, we unfortunately we just can't afford we just can't afford to take the really too many defensive plants at all. You can see we do take um, the iceberg. We keep that around because it's free. And again, I mean, who's going to argue with free? But um, all right, a little bit of this. We're going to be very careful here. The little notation that we're getting there is an indication that those zombies are basically the ones that we must protect. If a zombie eats those plants, we instantly lose the level. So, and very very important to make sure that we protect the plants that need protecting. Very environmentally conscious game that we have going on here. So there you go. All right. Again, I think that should be enough. And you see sometimes, the camel zombies in particular, sometimes you have to double up. Really, really make sure it's all well and settled. This is one of my favorite final waves because we can basically just kind of, you get two plant food, you get one in the final wave, so you can just kind of, by using the second and fourth bonk choys, you can do tons of damage to each of the rows, and regardless, just eliminate the entire row. Really feels very good. All right. And believe it or not, we're already down to our final 10 levels. Things definitely get a little bit more interesting. Again, the one thing about PVZ2, they did add some of these like level specific conditions. And we'll see coming up in a couple levels here, they do things even like limiting the number of plants that you can plant, or pre-picking the plants for you and things like that. So again, overall, I'd say that it's a feature that I really like about PvZ2. Each level kind of gets a little bit of a little bit of an added challenge as a result of sort of having these restrictions or these limitations in a certain way. Ooh, I actually thought for sure that would work. I'm very disappointed that didn't work. Probably cost us about, actually maybe only 2 or 3 seconds. But I um, really would have liked for that to work. All right, this guy kind of doing his thing. We're gonna set up some bonks here. Again, I try to differentiate between whether to use the bonks in the seventh or the eighth row. Again, primarily based on how many of how many of the sort of torch carrying zombies. I can't believe I can't remember their name, but how many of the torch zombies we get at any point during the level. So again, this level has a few more torches, so I got to be a little bit careful about where I place where we place the bonks. I actually thought we would get a. I thought we had one more plant food coming to us. I mismanaged my plant food here, so definitely should have used an instant at the end of that. But again, I'm hoping Chad will forgive me. I do have a. If I make any major mistakes, I do have a special thing that my chat knows about that I do have equipped here at my side here in real life. So we'll see how that goes. We will see how that goes. But again, another level where, as I was mentioning before, see the little 14, now 13 left that's sort of in the top left, top center-ish. That tells us how many plants we're allowed to have. So normally, again, in the speedrunning context, we love to, plant as much as we can, or at least as much as is optimal. But the game restricts it, and so we have to be very careful here not to go above and beyond our allotted amounts. And luckily, the bok choy does kind of help with that because it kind of does the work of really does the work of two at the end of the day. Um, actually, kind of misplayed that as well. So we'll just right. Oops. Oh no, I actually misclicked there too. Wow, a lot of pretty costly misclicks so far. I I'm letting myself down here. There's got to be a little bit more aware of some of the troubles. You see there, yeah, we did manage to freeze that guy just in time, but only three plants left. I don't think it's going to be that much trouble. Ugh. It didn't want to use an instant at the end there, but I think I would have been in a lot of trouble. Again, I really kind of I do place it all in that misclick of the bonk in the third row. Probably cost me about 5 to 10 seconds, and you just don't know what to do. All right, some of you from PVZ1 may remember the concept of last stand. And that was basically where you get a sort of fixed amount of sun to take at the beginning of the level. And then, you have to use it before the end. So what we do here, again, after much testing and, some deliberation and things like that, we came up with a strategy that we do think is adequate for being able to handle this. Again, especially given all the early sun that we get, everything like that. You can see here by basically doing, again, every time I kill some of those regular zombies, that's 50% of the current wave's hit points, and therefore that's sort of what spawns the next wave. You see here, it's important to get that cone head. Again, that's sort of what determines our 50%. Got a fast 50% there. We're going to plan ahead a little bit here. and should be enough for the next wave. All right, and we are out of plant food for the level. The game does not give you additional plant food, but we do have some planning. We do have a plan. We wait till about now. Did I get them all? I think so close. You know what? This level almost always has that one zombie. There's always that one guy, isn't there? There's always that one zombie that just refuses to cooperate. Won't let me take care of the final wave as quickly as I could. But again, that's an example of something that's well worth again, to save 15 seconds or so, sort of well worth the additional stuff that we spend on. Oops, I had slight misclick there. I thought I picked the iceberg, but that is okay. Right. Another level, they limit us to 15 plants. That's probably not going to come into play quite as much. Oh, another sort of call it fun, call it whatever you will, is there is what we call sun RNG in the level, and that's that although the sunflowers are pretty consistent with the rate at which they produce sun, there is a little bit of randomness to it, especially with the very first sun that they plant. So that's absolutely something we need to keep in mind for the run. Um, right. Again, this should work. Ooh, and it didn't. Okay. And really didn't want to do that. That was my last choice for solutions, but only four plants left. We have to be a little bit selective here. All right, now we have 0 plants left, but again, I love that potato mine effect. Again, it really lets us kind of get ahead by a couple of waves. So, oops, I don't know why. Yeah, why I don't know quite why I was having so much trouble there. Again, clicking on a very small iPhone screen is not necessarily what you would call an advantage. You might say, well, why don't you play on a bigger device? And so we'll kind of get into the conversation about device differences here. So much like Ocarina of Time and some things like that, there's a big difference between each. Again, not in casual play, but there's a significant load time difference between each device of PVZ2, as well as even what version of that device you have. So, for example, I'm playing on, I think it's an iPhone SE, um, and there is that's one of the faster versions, but it's actually not as fast as like a Samsung device, where the levels, the amount of time between each level can vary pretty significantly. So um, yeah, so again, I'm actually at a little bit of a version disadvantage here, but again, we try to make up for that by just playing a little bit better. So oh yeah, you can see. Unfortunately, one of them did get burned, but that's okay. Really a perfect final wave there, and saving just the right amount of plant food so we can clear out all the rows. And again, that eighth column, the second column from the right, is really the sweet spot when it comes to the bok choy, because again, they cover that nice 3 by 3 area during their plant food animation. So that's really kind of nice when it happens to that. Yeah, right. Boy, am I glad not to see any more ads. You guys might think I got like sponsored by whatever the heck ads were playing there, but I promise you. And again, we have to be very careful of that zombie in the middle. Be very careful. Oops. That's right. I actually forgot about that guy. That was a decent mistake, I would say. Actually have to use another instant there. Again, the reason I'm doing that is because those waves in particular have some very, very high hit point zombies. And again, if I'm not careful, they will all right, we got that. Ooh, I thought I would get that guy. We're gonna get them both. We are. Okay. Kind of a weak final wave. I probably should have saved one more plant food. One of the bigger mistakes of the run, I would say overall, but we're not doing too bad, right? Not too bad at all. All right, we're getting down to our final four levels. It's been hard to believe, but I'm certainly happy to take any questions about this game or the run or anything like that. Sort of as we narrow in on Zomboss and Ancient Egypt level 25. Marathon not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah, I would have had to maybe think twice about my participation if we were leaning in that direction. Try to put it as politically delicate, as delicately as I can. But yeah. Right. Normally like to get 9 to 10 sunflowers per level, but this level kind of had a bit of an interesting predicament. See if I can see what we can kind of clear out here. Right. At that point, again, we were kind of things were starting to slow down enough that I was not worried, but had to kind of reconsider the meaning of life. Oops. All right. See what we can. Hmm. And not thrilled from an execution perspective on this level. Yeah, this final wave is going to cost us a bundle of time, but luckily we do get a little bit more money coming up here. If you guys are worried about me running out of cash, all right. Probably the biggest mistake of the run, and perhaps the introduction to my very own Conehead of Shame. Again, in honor of the Coneheads, which cost a surprising amount of time on these levels, I've introduced the Conehead of Shame. Now, again, those of you that watched Up or have had a dog, you might remember the Cone of Shame. This is the Conehead of Shame, and that means that, well, just simply put, something shameful has happened, and it's sort of a sort of self-punishment, self-deprecation, however you want to look at it. But we're going to keep the Conehead of Shame on for the rest of the level, just to pay F, pressing F, paying respects to the many mistakes that we've made, the many regrets that we have throughout the course of the game. It's going to come to us in the form of a beautiful Conehead of Shame. Oops. Right. Uh, the top row is, yeah, starting to be a little concerning. I think it was worth the plant food there just to kind of slow the boy down a little bit. And if I had a little more money, we might have been in okay shape here, but alas, no one to blame but myself. I would say I kind of panicked a little bit with the final wave and the guard, but luckily managed to kind of get out of it a little bit ahead, and away we go. And again, the game's kind enough to give us another 3,000 bucks right as we're heading into to the last two levels. And we have another plan your defenses level here. It's kind of a nice sort of addition. Actually going to upgrade this just to kind of show you. Again, I think the little bit of time that we spend there is going to be worth the damage. So, all right. Without any further ado, let's go. We are a little bit space constrained here, so kind of have to make the most of the space that we have. Another reason why the upgrade is probably worth it. It actually increases increases the damage of the plant by about like 25% or so. This unfortunately is going to be another beautiful instant. And really, at this point, the level's kind of a set it and forget it sort of thing. We did try this level with the bloomerang, like we had in some of the previous levels, but unfortunately, it just wasn't quite up to par. So did not quite give us the firepower we really needed. Ooh, right. To get a little more plant food. Oh wow, there's a beautiful plant food. Ooh, that saved a bundle of time. That saved an insane amount of time. All right, and we'll clean out these guys. And believe it or not, we have made it to the final level. We've made it to Dr. Zomboss. Unfortunately, not on PB pace. My PB is just shy of a 51. It's a 51 sorry, a 50 58. Again, I think between the ads and the resets and some of the mental hiccups I had, we're not quite going to be there, but we're going to be comfortably under. We're going to be comfortably under 55 minutes at this point, and life is good. So get your votes in chat. Show some love. Um, Again, if you are able to make a donation to the cause, that'd be absolutely terrific. And if you can't, we understand. But again, I just want to kind of express my gratitude for having the opportunity to participate in this. Again, this really is a cause that I kind of firmly believe in. Again, there's lots of issues with the world, but again, I'd like to think that this is one that again, as a society, we can kind of overcome, handle, and think things like that as well. So, and you can see here the plant food really kind of showing its stuff. You can see the plant food really sort of utilized to try to do as much damage as we can to Dr. Zomboss. And you see right here, you see how Dr. Zomboss was about to charge? Yeah, we really didn't want that to happen. We're really saying no thank you to getting completely bum rushed. But unfortunately, I needed some plant food in order to really make that happen, and didn't quite manage to get there, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to use one of our lawnmowers. That's okay. Maybe even a second one here. But luckily, I think we're gonna be just about good enough shape to do enough damage. Nice. Okay, and I was actually in a little bit of trouble at that fourth row, but timer's going to be right now. Very good. We have reached time. About a 53-minute, 53 and a half minute, or sorry, 53. I don't know what the final time is going to be because my stream's a little bit behind. Looks like about a 53:45. Not my best performance of all time, but again, between losing a minute or two to ads and resets and a couple of mental mistakes there, that's PVZ2, Ancient Egypt. I really appreciate you all tuning in. And by that, I also mean my biggest supporters right here. Aside from my loving wife, we have the plushies right here. I have about a dozen or so plushies that make their way. Unfortunately, we didn't get to we didn't get to utilize all of them today, but plushies were here to support. You all were here to support. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It's really has been an honor. I hope you'll consider checking out Plants vs Zombies 1 and 2. We have a Discord. We have a very active community. And it really is a fun game to speed run. Lots of decision making, fast, dynamic. Every time you play through is a little bit different. You very hard to sort of optimize the strategy perfectly, but that's what we got. So again, thank you all for the GGs. I really do appreciate it. It was great being here, and yeah, not quite sure what we're what's up next. Have to double check there with the schedule, but this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for um, showing off Plants vs Zombies 2. All right, and next up we do have Kingdom Hearts Shared Memories. I'll begin that started as soon as I'm able to.
Very good. Well, thanks, El. Appreciate your hosting, coordinating, everything like that, and thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Have yourselves a good day.